Lutka, we just spoke with Gagan a while back, and welcome, first of all.
Thank you.
About, the options for Canadian residency if you fail to get into the H1 system here. For you, the question really is, once I obtain a Canadian permanent residency or a citizenship, will that be an easier access to US immigration then?
That's a good question. And it really does flow nicely from Gagan's discussion.
Yes.
There are a lot of people that maybe they don't get selected in H-1B, or they're just frustrated with the immigration system, or they have family in Canada. So they move permanently to Canada. They obtain permanent residency. That is not too helpful, doesn't open up too many options. But once they become Canadian citizens, it's definitely going to open some new doors, and there are definitely advantages. Number one, and this is an easy one, the person doesn't need visa. So if they want to visit the U.S., they can just enter the U.S. because Canadian citizens are visa exempt. So instead of going to the embassy and applying for B1, B2 visa, this is really nice option, for visitors or even students, any other visa category except the e-visa. They don't need visa. So that's a huge advantage.
Huge. Yeah, that's huge.
Yes. Now, a big one is the TN. So TN is available only to Mexicans and Canadians. It's not available, of course, to Indian nationals, but,
What is TN?
TN visa. It's a visa type. It's very simple compared to other options. It does require an employer an offer of employment from the U.S. organization in one of the occupations that is listed on the TN appendix. So as example, accountants, architects, computer systems analysts, and so on. And also it lists minimum requirements such as bachelor's degree. In some cases, there is no education at all, just experience. And, the nice part about it is that the person can just come to the Board of Entry, present the offer letter, credentials, and they get it on the spot. So it's really easy to get. They can get it for 3 years and just keep extending indefinitely. So there is no 6 years or 7 years as we see it with H's or with L's. So TN is huge. The next category is e-visa. Again, it's based on treaty. India does not so far, even though there has been push, doesn't have the e-visa, where Canada does. So, if somebody is interested in buying a business in the U.S., so investing, creating a business, establishing, and again, investing money. I'm not talking about EB-5. So we shouldn't confuse it with the EB-5, which is a green card category, with substantial amount of money that needs to be invested. Here, we've had cases with 80,000 investment, 100,000 investment. And again, the nice thing is that the person can hold e-visa for a really long time. So years and years and years. Yeah. The disadvantage of TN and E is that it's not a dual intent. So it doesn't really lead to a green card. But, it's a great option for our Indian clients if they're interested coming back to the U.S. One thing I want to mention, and that's very important, for the green card purposes, even if someone becomes Canadian citizen, the government is going to be looking at country of birth. So it's still India. So unfortunately, in the past, we discussed visa bulletin. Yeah. It's going to be still India, not Canada. Unless, and again, I remember we discussed it in the past, if Canadian national that was born in India marries a Canadian citizen who was born in Canada, then it's a cross-chargeability situation, and then we would be looking at Canada instead of India. But becoming a Canadian citizen or definitely opens up a lot of advantages and options, and it's a useful tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I highly recommend it.
And thank you for that. So folks, if you're listening in and you have your Canadian citizenship, you're looking for options to U.S. immigration, NPZ Law Group is right there to help you with that. If you're stuck in any of the crossroads of U.S. and Canadian immigration, they can